Why the name Dux?
Which means leader or guide, someone who leads the way. Some would say is the most important one is that it's an available symbol on the Nasdaq. Dux is building an agentic exposure management platform, which basically means we're building AI agents that help organizations tackle the millions of vulnerabilities they need to handle. They do it with exploitability analysis, by rapidly deploying different mitigating controls to protect against exposures, and by accelerating remediation. And the goal is essentially to help teams match the pace that the attackers are operating in with modern attacks.
And tell us, what does the agentic part of the product actually do?
Dux agents act like an autonomous researcher that lives inside each of our customers' environments. So when a new vulnerability comes in, the agent breaks it into real-world exploitation prerequisites, and then it gathers evidence like runtime behavior, identity, network exposure, existing controls, to perform an investigation of whether that vulnerability is exploitable in a specific context of environment. And each investigation is backed by code written by our agents. So every research is both consistent, inspectable, and repeatable. And that means that in a matter of just a few weeks, the agents start to understand their environment, how they think about this, what matters to them and what doesn't, and why. And the result is that instead of having thousands of alerts, each customer gets a small number of clear, human-readable groups with evidence that give them what is the next step they should take to reduce the exposure of their environment.
This is what got me so excited about investing in Dux in the first place. During my time at GitHub, I remember our team was just absolutely drowning in alerts, and it was really tough to figure out which ones actually mattered.
So it's super rare for us to see 2 Talpiot founders, let alone 3 Talpiot founders like you guys. Walk us through the origin story and how you all came together to work on this.
I think that if you talk with anyone on our cohort, the 3 of us have been conspiring about this from the moment we kind of knew each other like a decade ago. And we felt like we're at a really good point to basically come with both the attacker perspective and the defensive perspective to basically bridge this gap and help the defensive players win this needle in the haystack game from their perspective.
Tell us a little bit more about the team that you've assembled.
We're building a product in a new paradigm, which introduces a lot of challenges. You need both really good experience with building reliable systems, because agents can be chaotic and they have a lot of issues. And then on the other side, you need very large flexibility to be able to overcome challenges that are handled in every company for the first time now. So the team is on a very narrow intersection of those 2 traits. And those happen to be also the traits that are really important for cybersecurity offensive work. Thankfully, we have a very big talent pool of people that match those 2 traits.
Walk us through the why nows for Dux and why such a solution is so needed today.
For forever, exposure management was a reasoning problem. We just didn't have the tools that enable us to solve it as one. So if you think about it, the old exposure management systems were built to support very shallow analysis of what's truly exploitable. We had these rule-based systems, but real exploitability depends on deep and messy context. I think that now is a time that we see the development in the market. It enables us to actually solve it in a completely different way. An agent can decide what evidence matters, what it needs to collect. It can gather and learn over time. And I think that basically agents are the key to how exposure management finally starts to think like a human.
In 10 years, what does Dux look like, and how does vulnerability management evolve?
Up until this point in time, vulnerability management teams mainly had 1,000-pound hammer tool in their arsenal that they can use to solve the problems, which is called patching. They could orchestrate the remediation process together with IT teams and engineering teams in order to get problems fixed. And for the first time, we are expanding this arsenal with a bunch of other tools that the vulnerability management teams can use to actually fix and solve the problems that they encounter. They can actually get to the point where they close the loop and fix the problem as a vulnerability management team or as a security organization.
So we chat with a lot of CISOs at Redpoint, and every single one bemoans the millions of vulnerabilities that they have across their tooling. And it's really grown worse over the years. You have a proliferation of more assets, more scanners, a huge number of findings that vulnerability management teams are expected to triage and push through the organization. However, the reality is that most of these aren't actually exploitable, and so teams are left to sift through and analyze all of these in a really unscalable manner, and they have to waste a ton of time on low-priority, non-exploitable ones. We were super excited by Dux's ability to really close this gap by leveraging AI agents to perform rapid exploitability analysis. And in addition to that, the team is just absolutely incredible.